What are the 5 most significant things?
In this book, right?
Yes, things or events
That I took
or moments, or,
okay,
you know, that led to the making of Nigeria that you discovered in this book.
I think one of the first important takeaways for me is, and I'm taking this, I want to link this again to the platter of gold. Okay. Was the nature of the forceful occupation. That's not always strikingly obvious. It's not something that we're always...
So that's number 1.
That's number 1.
Forceful occupation.
Forceful occupation.
Of Nigeria.
Yes.
By the British.
By the British. Sultan Atihiru with his 15,000 men, all killed. Kano, when the emir had fled and the waziri had to defend it, everybody dead. Zaria, dead.
It was really violent.
It was really, yes, yes.
Yes. It's often glossed over, the violence that was... We just fast forward to, the colonial rule started. No, it didn't. It was a very painful exercise.
Took over Nigeria
by force.
Violently.
Forcefully.
It was an occupation. Arrow, Long, Juju is the same thing.
Yeah.
And these are events that are coming after what we know, the Lagos bombardment, the Benin 1897, which are before when this book starts. But the continuation, I mean, to me, that was actually quite a shocking revelation, the amount of bloodshed.
Before you go to the next one, this is an opportunity for me to point out an observation. Lord Lugard, who led most of those takeovers, violent takeovers, is often taught in our schools, or was taught in our schools when we still had history, as a hero. But your book here paints him in a very different light, defines him or explains him in a very different light. The Lugard I saw in your book was very violent, vicious, desperate man who you cannot describe, you can never describe as a hero. The Lugard here, I mean, he led those violent takeovers. Thousands and thousands of Nigerians killed, particularly in the takeover of the northern part of Nigeria. Were you trying to redefine Lugard?
Not at all. Welcome to the real Lord Lugard. And actually, he wasn't even a lord when he had anything to do with Nigeria. He was captain, and then he became Sir Frederick Lugard. He became a lord much later, after he'd retired from Nigeria and the service. So in the context of Nigerian history, he's not Lord Lugard, and people often do that. So it's just some inaccuracies. He is not a Nigerian hero. He's not a hero of Nigerian history. He's a central figure in how the country came about, but not for heroic reasons. He was, you are right, he was a desperate, very brutal and violent man who had very little regard for the native Africans who inhabited the territory that later became Nigeria. Very little regard for them, for their life or their well-being. He had a mission. It's often said that the morality of a nation is based on its public, on its own personal interest. So, to him, he could dispense with your sense of morality, as long as it didn't disturb his objectives. So, I guess a man in his time, in the Victorian age, could explain killing natives in order to achieve the imperial conquest. But I resent the fact that certain monuments are named after him. Not that he should be erased from our history. Good Lord, no. I'd never say take away streets that are named after him. But I resent that the Kogi House of Assembly sits in a building called Lugard House. I resent that the Governor's Lodge in Kaduna State is called Lugard Hall or Lugard House. It is just not right that the symbol of our democracy should be celebrated around a figure that was such a villain in our history.
It's akin to discussion about, like, the statues of Cecil Rhodes.
Yes.
How they're named.
No, the bringing them down, because Cecil Rhodes was also a
very Lugardian figure in the history of East Africa and Zimbabwe. and how he brutally took over that territory for his own personal fortunes. So I don't want to rewrite history, and I certainly don't attempt it in this book. But I like you said, not redefine, define him properly. Meet the real Frederick Lugard. He was a soldier, and a soldier of fortune, for that matter.
Okay, so that's the first one.
That's the first one.
The takeovers.
Yes.
Second.
Second, important was tax. And the various responses to tax. Okay. It's interesting when you read the book and see how the demands for no taxation without representation, because of course if there is no representation then it is just extraction, it's just exploitation.
It's not tax, yeah.
And it's a recurring
theme in the book.
And
it's almost a central theme.
It is, yes. In one way that we've discussed, it started with, we are going to tax women. You don't tax women. As you said, we are dependent on our men. Have you taxed them? It began with when she was assaulted by the tax collector and it escalated from there.
Yeah. And that led to wow.
Again, deaths of so many women.
Yeah.
Many. How many women were killed then?
59.
58
women.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Across a period of 2 months.
Yeah.
So that's Nwayewura. Okay. Nwayewura's refusal. I mean, she was central to women rejecting taxation. Now, and they started protesting.
Yes.
And that ran for like 2 months, right?
That's right.
And that ultimately ended in the Aba riot, right? Was there ultimately?
No, the commission was at.
Yes, the hearing of the inquiry.
The hearing of the inquiry into the various, because there was Abak, they killed some people there, they killed some people in Oloko, they killed some people in Opobo. So it was a
just snowballed.
And you are killing women.
Yeah, but I think the significant thing which you try to say, which you try to explain in your book, is that it began to make Nigerians conscious of the power of protests.
Yeah.
Yes, but I want to not escape.
Is that not correct?
Yes, but I also don't want to escape the tax, because tax is not only about her. It's also about the Lagos water riot. It's also about the Ransom Kuti.
Yeah.
20 years later with the Aduke. It is also about
even the cola.
Even the cola and the living allowance. So tax is a and the fact of the imposition of the tax. And again, let us pull that back, because we've spoken about historical timelines as well. The need for the colony to be extractive, because Britain was in a recession at that time. So it needed the tax so that it could prop up things at home.
Wow, I think a lot of major events that happened years later can be traced back to that woman.
Indeed.
Nwayewura, right?
Yeah, but you have to understand also the underlying nature of the incidence of tax. It is exercise of a right, okay, and whether the right exists or not. The imposer, the colonial authority, felt it had the right to collect. The natives felt that they did not have the right to collect. So it was the conflict of those rights. And that's what tax does. By right, forgive the pun, but by right, taxation is a conflict of those rights. When even in modern states today, people resent tax, they only pay it because they know that the imposer has the right to collect. And that therein lies the battle that then led to, one, the creation of Nigeria, and two, the liberation from colonial rule.
As always, we'll be happy to get your feedback through any of our social media platforms displayed on your screen. My name is Olakunle Kasumo. Remember, one great book can change your life. Bye-bye.